What I've learned about starting over? Life, love, loss, and becoming her again. It takes a lot of courage to live this life. But can we talk sister to sister for 1 minute? Nobody really prepares you for the part of life where you look around and realize, wait a minute, this is not what I thought like my life was going to look like. Relationships change, friendships end, your children grow up, and suddenly they don't need you in the same way when all you've known is being a mother your whole life. Careers change, you lose a job, you lose people, and you lose the version of yourself that you thought you were going to be. And then one day you stand there thinking, okay, God, now what? Tell me because I have absolutely no idea. And what I've learned is that starting over doesn't mean your life has fell apart. Sometimes your life had to change because you changed. And it can feel like you've fallen apart, but actually you've fallen all together again. There are seasons in life where things change all at once, and that's what makes midlife particularly interesting because you're not dealing with just one transition. You're dealing with children growing up, relationships changing, your body changing, your career changing, and even your priorities changing. And somehow we're supposed to act normal when you're internally thinking, ma'am, I would like to speak to management. Nobody sent me the midlife orientation package. I checked my email, nothing. Okay. One of the other lessons I learned is that some relationships have expiration dates. And that's one of the hardest things I've had to learn is that loving someone doesn't mean they're supposed to stay in your life forever. Some relationships are for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And sometimes you are just mourning who somebody used to be, not who they are today. History isn't always a reason to keep someone in your life or give them access to you. You don't need to turn into a villain in somebody's story just because the relationship ended. It's okay. Sometimes we don't make it with people all the way. That don't mean you were wrong or that person was wrong. Sometimes you simply just cannot stay. I think sometimes we feel somebody has to be wrong or somebody cheated or somebody betrayed somebody or somebody did something terrible. Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes that is the case, but sometimes we just simply outgrow each other. Two people just don't fit in each other's lives anymore. And that can be very painful, to be honest. I've experienced that. And I never knew what it was like to break up with a friend. I mean, you broke up a relationship, but a friendship is a relationship too, but it hurts. So, have you ever had to release somebody that you cared about and you knew the relationship wasn't healthy for the woman that you were becoming? Now, the relationship may be fun and all that, but for the woman that you were becoming, and you had to ask yourself, is this really healthy for me or is this relationship going where I'm going? And please, let's normalize friendship breakups because nobody prepares you for losing a girlfriend who you thought was going to be by your side until you were 80. Female friendships can feel like grief. I'm telling you. And sometimes the friendship doesn't explode, it just simply fades away. And that's painful. You stop calling, they stop calling, or conversations become different, or one person just grows in another direction. And sometimes you finally notice you're doing all the work and it's like, this ain't gonna work. And somewhere around this age, I stopped chasing people. I'm not running behind anybody unless you stole my purse. But that ain't gonna happen because I'm divinely guided and protected. But seriously, I've learned that reciprocity matters. My daughter told me a great lesson, which I'm sure she learned from me. She said, if I'm pouring and you ain't pouring, we're done pouring. So I want relationships that I don't want relationships where I'm constantly trying to prove myself, my worth, or making a person remember me like, hey, over here. I don't have time for that. I can love you from a distance and stop chasing you. Releasing someone doesn't erase the good memories, it just simply means I'm accepting what the relationship is today instead of holding on to what it was yesterday. And guess what? It's okay. Lesson two that I've learned. The empty nest syndrome can make you ask, who am I now? One of the strangest transitions for women is going from being needed constantly to suddenly realizing your children have their own lives. And it's like, what? How dare you have your own life? Motherhood can be such a huge part of your identity. For years, your calendar revolves around children's appointments, school activities, food, problems. Everybody needs mom in some form or capacity. And then suddenly they grow up. And well, that's what you raised them to do. And then somehow you get offended. Now, how's that going to work? Like, excuse me, who told you you could grow up? Come back here and need me some more. But that empty nest is actually an invitation. Who am I when I'm not taking care of everybody else? Cooking breakfast, lunch, dinner, doing school drop offs and activities for the kids. What do I like? What kind of activities do I like to do? Who am I? What do I want to create? What dreams did I put down 20 years ago because somebody needed dinner or I had to check homework? An empty nest, but what I found out was an empty nest certainly doesn't mean an empty life. It can become the beginning of a woman that you're meeting over and over and over again with new wants, new desires, new needs. And guess what? She also has the time to explore them. Another lesson I learned, losing work can mess with your identity. One of the biggest things I've learned is how much we attach our identity to our careers. Talk about what it feels like to experience an extended period of uncertainty around work. That's me. Career disruption isn't only financial, it can affect your confidence. You start questioning your abilities, and rejection can be start to feel personal if you're not careful. Watching other people move forward can make you feel behind. There were moments when I had to remind myself, company decided whether they want me does not determine my value. The applications, the interviews, the waiting, the filling out 100 resumes a week, the rejection emails, nothing humbles you like getting a rejection email from a job you didn't even remember applying for, okay? But career uncertainty taught me something I probably wouldn't have learned when everything was all cushy and comfortable. Change without your value changing. Lesson number 5. I learned you're allowed to love again. Just because one thing didn't work out doesn't mean life is over. Sometimes women are afraid to admit I still want love, especially after disappointment, after betrayal, after bad relationships. But I'm here to tell you wanting companionship is not a weakness. You don't have to become cynical to prove you're healed. You can have standards and a open heart at the same time. Healing shouldn't turn into somebody. Healing shouldn't turn into you being hard to reach or not being open to love again. The idea of being a strong woman doesn't mean you don't need anybody. Technically, I don't need anybody to open my pickle jar either or to kill that bug in the corner. But if you're standing there, open it. Think maturity is realizing where there's a difference between needing someone to complete you and wanting someone to share a beautiful life with. Don't get me wrong, I don't want somebody to rescue me, but I do want someone who can walk beside me. And if love hasn't arrived yet for you, don't build your entire life in the waiting room either. Travel, laugh as often as you can, create beautiful things that you enjoy creating. Date yourself. Go out on dates by yourself. Go to the movie, take yourself to the movies, get dressed up, and be on time too. Make friends and go places you've never been before. Just live. Another valuable lesson I learned, number 6, at this stage in life, peace is expensive. The older you get, the more expensive my peace gets. I used to think protecting my peace meant avoiding drama. Now I look at peace as releasing myself from other people's expectations too. Okay? People will have opinions about your decisions no matter what you do. So live for you. People may not understand why you're changing, why you behave a certain way. Some people prefer the older version of you. And some people may not understand why you're behaving the way that you behave. And at this stage in life, I don't have enough years left to audition for roles in other people's lives. I don't need everybody to understand my life because the truth is people going to talk anyway. So you might as well live your life and enjoy it. You can listen to wise counsel without turning over to a public vote. And sometimes protecting your peace means asking, do I actually want this or do I want people to approve of me for having it? That question will definitely expose some things. And I think this may be the biggest lesson is that when life changes at this age, it can feel like you're starting over. But we're not starting from zero. That's the key. We're not starting from zero. We're starting with wisdom, lived experience, discernment, boundaries. I mean, firm boundaries too. And mistakes that you've already survived, lessons you've already paid the price for and learned and came out much better understanding who you are and who you are not. So, no, I don't have the same life I had at 40. Thank God. Well, no, I'm not going to say that. My life wasn't bad, but it brought me where I am today, and I love the woman that I am because the earlier version of me made some questionable decisions, but I learned and she got me here. And maybe, just maybe, that's what this chapter is really all about. Not desperately trying to get out of my old life, not trying to become the woman we used to be, but finally having enough courage to meet the woman you are becoming. Imagine that. So if you're watching this and something in your life has ended, a relationship, a friendship, a career, motherhood as you have known it, or simply an old version of yourself that you've outgrown, I want you to remember this. An ending is not evidence that your best years are behind you. You might be standing at the beginning of a life you couldn't have imagined when you were younger. And maybe instead of asking, why doesn't my life look the way I thought it would? And we start asking, what can I create with the life I have now? That's the question I'm asking myself. And it's exciting too. I'm having fun. Because really, there are no mistakes in life, there's only lessons. And that's what Reclaim Her means to me. We're not going backwards trying to find out who we used to be. We're reclaiming her, the woman who doesn't have to have it all figured out, but is enjoying learning who she is now and being able to pivot and shift and change without apologizing. So if you're in your own season of starting over or becoming, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you're learning to go of and make room for because somebody reading your comment may need to know she's not the only one. And if these are the conversations you've been looking for to subscribe, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it here. The beautiful parts, the uncomfortable parts, the funny parts, and the parts nobody even warned us about. So thank you for watching Reclaim Her. See you soon.